How's it going? It is noon, so I am going to start off with my prayer really quick. Omni Mater Ergo Logos Inanna Anunnaki Aika. Omni Mater Ergo Logos Inanna Anunnaki Aika. Omni Mater Ergo Logos Inanna Anunnaki Aika. For those of you who don't know, Omni Mater Ergo Logos is a phrase that means all matter is the mother, from the rocks to the trees to animals to you and me, our physical vessels. All physical matter is the mother. And this phrase acts like a key to the spiritual world, of getting them to actually pay attention to you. You know the wisdom of the mother, so it gets their attention. Inanna is me, my true self, my soul's name. So I am summoning my true self, and Anunnaki is the people of Inanna, those that come to this world to fight alongside me to make the golden age. And they are not just humans, but other species. And Aika is the name of Mount Shasta. So I am summoning to Mount Shasta. And yes, hopefully we have a great day and get to the golden age. I don't know how many of you watching joined in with the 48-hour group dry fast that just happened. We just ended it at midnight this morning at 12 a.m. PST. That was really great experience. I had a pretty big turnout on Facebook. Like 19 people responded to the event. So, getting a lot of people to dry fast is pretty impressive in itself. If you took part in it, I'm really proud of you. It's definitely not easy, but it does get easier over time. I would love to hear your experience if you did partake in the dry fast. And hopefully, you will join in next week. I'm only going to be doing a 24-hour dry fast next week because I am going to have a delicious vegan Thanksgiving meal and go out and celebrate on Friday as well. So Friday night at midnight will be the start of the next dry fast, going to Saturday night at midnight. So hopefully you can join me. Hey everybody, AA is here, Aaron is here, Sonia's here. How's it going, everybody? AA says, why don't you trust anyone in the mainstream? Because they are inverted clowns, and you can't trust an invert no matter what truth they speak. They've tried to put out a whole network of inverted shills in the truther community as gatekeepers of various topics. And I keep stressing it's something that I want to talk a little bit more in depth today about. It's like the inverted ultimately are deceivers and corruptors. So, how can you even trust anything that somebody says if they are lying about something as fundamental as what sex they are? Like, if they'll lie about that, they will lie about anything. So, yeah, every time you turn on the mainstream TV, most people that are watching probably don't watch mainstream TV, right? Because most of us know that it's all just nonsense. If you turn it on anyways, and you know how to judge someone by their biomarkers, you're going to find inverted clowns over and over and over again. One of the things that I keep mentioning, there's some channels on YouTube that cover like true crime, mainstream news stories, and they're all inverted. You can just watch show after show after show and see, crisis actor after crisis actor. They can't, produce one real tear in their child supposedly dead. Like, yeah, give me a break. AA says thoughts about the Anunnaki. Anu being the sky deity, some would say Yah, and Naki meaning the people of those that actually do his will. I'm definitely on board with that. I am pro our creator. I think that this realm was created ultimately to be a paradise, and we can make it that way once again. But our own actions have, fueled what is going on right now. Even just not being vegan, enslaving other species is fueling the new world order. So, yes. Sonia says, yum. I actually, when I went home for Christmas last Christmas, I got some vegan, it's called Not Turkey or No Turkey or something, but it's a vegan turkey substitute, like textured veggie protein, and you could find it on Amazon. It was kind of expensive. I think it was like $10 for a pound or something. But anyways, I found this vegan stuffing recipe with like garlic and carrots and gluten-free bread and onions, and I made like a stuffing casserole and put the vegan turkey bits in the casserole itself, and it was so good. And like that's what I am planning on recreating for this Thanksgiving. I'll probably also have some mashed potatoes and maybe some corn. Maybe to find like either a pumpkin pie dessert or a cherry pie or even cherry cheesecake. Yum. AA says, and yeah, it's unfortunate about being attracted to inverts. I've mentioned before about how, people on both sides, both males and females, have been deceived and corrupted into lusting after the inverts that we see on TV. And, if you don't know what I mean, men are at home sitting lusting after other men, and women are lusting after other women. The big hunks, even the ones that we're supposed to lust after in these action movies, they're all girls. This serves to corrupt us and, ultimately make us homosexual. Aaron said, I made a vegan steak with Beyond Meat. It was very good with Stubbs barbecue sauce. Reminded me of steak with HP sauce. Interesting. A vegan steak, huh? It sounds really good to me is like Salisbury steak that's vegan. That would be really yummy. Did you follow a recipe for that, Aaron, or did you just kind of like make the crumbles into like a steak patty or something? Hi, as the sun said, hey, Queen, how's it going? AA said, not everyone in the mainstream is inverted, though. I beg to differ. I have been investigating and teaching people how to investigate for a very long time, and I have yet to find, every once in a while there'll be a real boy that slips through, but never a real girl. They're pretty much all inverted. Like, that's what you do to get to the top in this world. If you want to be famous, or not even really that famous, people in your local town on the mainstream news, there's crisis actors there too. So somebody says, no TV, only my phone. That is definitely good. Sonia said, I read somewhere that the only way to be inverted is to sacrifice a loved one. Is that true? Well, being inverted means, that has to do with you and what you do to yourself, right? Being inverted. But they do, as part of, the gig, if you will, invert their children. And if they say no to inverting their children, then they're going to be in trouble. They're going to lose their status. They're going to lose their position because corruption is part of the package, if you will, right? It's not only that you have to be corrupt, but you have to corrupt others as well. I will look up Nina, but I'm just telling you right now that it's going to be a man. Yeah, I mean, you're not ever going to find a real girl in a position of power, and this thing does not even look like a real girl. It's like has a neck a mile long, really flat, straight across shoulders, giant clavicles in this other picture, a man jaw in this other picture. I'll keep this up and then put them on blast in my Transvestigation Disclosure group in just a little bit. Because how's it going? Doing great, thank you. Yeah, Nina is definitely a man. Thoughts about shifting from 3D to 5D. It's kind of interesting because I was just thinking about this the other day. I don't really subscribe to the whole 3D, 5D, people promote this whole thing, it's kind of would be more labeled new age. I don't really like to use that because I'm not, I don't want to clump all of these, occult and spiritual things together and just say it's new age, like, a negative thing. But I think that one of the things about our, the 5D, 3D and 5D perspective, a lot of people see the reality that we are in from a very limited human perspective. So for me, it's kind of like through the whole awakening process, it's kind of like taking a step back and not seeing things through strictly a human-based perspective, right? Humans are looking out and seeing, those that are enslaving us, and we're like, oh my gosh, don't enslave us, but if you take a step back and you see the bigger picture of, okay, humans are enslaving these species, so, this species is enslaving them, it's like, all right, well, that makes a lot more sense, and I can't get upset about humans being enslaved when we are doing, anyone who sits down and actually assesses the situation knows that it is only fair that we are enslaved if we use our free will to enslave others. I was just reading that some 46,000 turkeys are bred and slaughtered solely for Thanksgiving. That's one stinking day. 46, is it million? Yeah, I think it was million actually. How many turkeys are slaughtered for Thanksgiving? More than 46 million of them are killed each year at Thanksgiving alone, and more than 22 million die at Christmas. And people want to say we don't deserve being called off, 22 million deaths on your hand for one day, it's just ridiculous. Okay. Aaron said vegan eggnog here, is good. Lots of sugar though. I can't say. I probably have tried eggnog before, but it never was a thing for me. But I'd definitely be open to trying it. A vegan version, obviously. Sonia said, I meant to not be inverted and famous. They must sacrifice a loved one. I haven't seen anyone that's not inverted and famous. And as far as the way that they get there being not inverted and famous, it's usually that they are pedophiles, really, really corrupt child abusers in other ways. I'm not 100% sure that they have to actually sacrifice anyone killing, to be in that position if they're corrupt, you know what I'm saying? If they're going to go out and sodomize little children, that in itself is a form of sacrifice because you're breaking that child, right? You're corrupting that child. And then oftentimes the Papa Bear demon is, sodomized into a little child and then starts to confuse him. He starts to, even unfortunately, enjoy the abuse, wires get crossed, the adult might, try to confuse them into thinking that it's okay. It's a natural situation. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just the demon that's helping cross the wires, but the adult. And one of the things is that people want to, not want to think that pedophiles are often extremely good with children. They know how to interact with children, to lure them in, to ultimately, corrupt them, right? To groom and corrupt them. And Papa Bear, the demon, definitely helps with that. So it's this demon gets sodomized into them, crosses their wires as a child, then even before they're grown up, they might start offending other children and, doing the same cycle of abuse over and over again because of this pedophile demon. So, yes. Aaron said, I used a pre-made burger round one, then seared the edges and both sides with various spices in the cast iron pan. It was like filet mignon, but without the bacon, of course. Or LOL. Oh, nice. Okay. To be honest, I'm not really, I couldn't even tell you what filet mignon is. Even when I was an animal eater, I was never really big into, my family would eat steak, for family dinner, but it was never I'm going to go out to a restaurant to order it. A lot of times, it had, so much fat, and by the time I cut all of the stuff I'm not going to eat off of it, it's the whole concept is gross, though. What just popped into my mind is that I was making this chicken and dumpling one time, and I'm having to handle the raw flesh, cut off all of the fat. So gross. Okay, let's look on Faith. Hey, how's it going? Hey, Queen, have you read the book of Sophie? The book, The Sophia Code. The author is Kai Ra. Do you know her, and do you think that she's inverted? I've not heard of it before, and I do not know them, but I'm extremely skeptical of everybody. Which, I mean, I think that's the wise thing to do because we've been tricked by so many people. Best-selling author, yeah. A celebrated divine feminine teacher. Sorry, these are all like throwing up red flags for me. It's like inverts love to do this, like divine feminine. I see posters like around Mount Shasta, obviously a lot of people, you know, trying to capitalize on it being the meeting place of heaven and earth and have their different UFO like events or something, you know, where people pay to come and camp and then, you know, have a UFO experience, or, you know, divine feminine retreats. And then you see the picture of the poster and it's like, that is a man. Like a man is trying to run all of these women's retreats, divine feminine stuff. It's like, you guys are really pathetic. To be honest, if I had a gun to my head, I would definitely say that this is a dude. It'd be nice to do a little bit more investigation, especially seeing like full body shots and stuff, but I'm always just really skeptical with everybody at this point. Okay. AA says, read that some 100 years ago, an Armenian ancestor of the Kardashians became a witch. I heard that as well. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, they've been witches this whole time. And it's obvious from their actions that they are practicing black magic. You know, just being an invert in itself is a form of black magic because you are doing something to deceive other people. Like, it's definitely damning. Aaron says spices, oregano, garlic, cayenne pepper, black pepper, and seasoned salt for the steak. You get a good crunch, but juicy on the insides with lots of flavor. Wow, okay. Very cool. Look at you, little chef. Not saying little in a mean way, and just like, okay. Anyways, AA says, is Madison beer inverted? Hailed as one of the most good-looking people around. Yeah, that's a red flag in itself. Okay. Oh, geez. Yeah, this is definitely a man. Like I said, there's no real girls that are famous unless they are FTMs. Like, holy crap, this guy is not easy on the eyes. I'll save that one too and maybe put him on blast when I get home in the disclosure group. That's always fun. Aaron says plant-based is much cleaner. I think you would like it if you like the spices and the sauce to dip. I never even thought of a steak in 4 years, but tried it and it was good. I actually, speaking of that, I just found a mushroom steak at the store and I got it to try it. Just not really too big of a fan of mushrooms. Well, I can't say that because I've only really tried very few different types of mushrooms, so I want to be open to trying new ones. But I tried this vegan Alfredo, mushroom Alfredo recipe once, and it was like... all right. Sonia says, I agree. Suspicious, cautious at all times now. Exactly. And unfortunately, we could be seen as pessimistic or negative. You know, when I'm saying that the Maxwell case is a psyop, that the Rittenhouse case is a psyop, that no real justice is being served. People are like, you're always so negative. It's like, speaking the truth really isn't negative. Like, it's not that I don't have like a hope for the future. It's just that I see the reality for what it is. Anything that you see on TV, you shouldn't trust it at all. Like, many of us have been screwed over way too many times enough to not trust anything that we see on TV. Aaron says he looks like He-Man, jaw and chin in regards to Madison Beer. Yes. It's funny because if you go and look up like the most attractive celebrities or whatever, they're all inverted. And one of them actually, I think it was like the top 50 hottest women or something, and the only one woman on the list was Justin Bieber. It's hilarious. Too funny. Hey Daniel, how's it going? Daniel said, hey Queen Anana, good to see you. Glad that you could make it. How's your day going? Sonia says, I love mushrooms. Is there a certain type that you like? I've seen so many different types. It's really crazy. Like the chicken of the woods kind that is supposedly tastes like chicken. I definitely like to try a lot more mushrooms in the future. Aaron says you can make pan fry plant-based steak with Beyond Meat and Anna. You can form it thinner and flatten it out, but keep it cooler so the coconut stays solid. Okay, interesting. Might have to try that. Are you using the beef crumbles for that, presumably? Fizza, how's it going? Says, hi, Anana. What name do you use for the creator? I call the creator Yah myself, but I also come from a biblical / Torah background. So, yeah. When I give thanks or gratitude, I can't decide between God, Yahweh, Source, higher consciousness. So I thank them all. For me, Source is a point in time, not an actual entity. Like there's a point in time where, there was one, and then from one, many came, and, time has been progressing forward ever since. We're obviously not one anymore. We are many. So, yeah. Faith said she met Sophia at Mount Shasta in her books, and that these are the words Sophia gave her to put in her book. That's really cool. I wonder if it's available for free on the as a PDF. Thank you so much. Some more hot water. Anyways, I'm gonna see if that is available as a PDF online here. What was it called again? The Sophia code. Ooh. So a lot of the stuff that I will share with you guys has PDFs available online. I always suggest that people go and try to find the PDF online before they go and buy any books. Bummer, it doesn't look like it has it. All right, I'll save that to look into later. Faith, okay. Exit. Yahuwah, Yeshua, in my opinion, Yahweh is the demiurge, old God in the Old Testament. Yeah, I know a lot of people kind of say, different gods. I personally don't judge Yah based on the Old Testament because it has been corrupted by lying scribes. So, yeah, unfortunately, they want Yah to look like a bloodthirsty psychopath who contradicts himself. Yeah. Anmol Baha, I don't know if that's how you say your name, but I think inverts infiltrate your daily life. Yes, they definitely do. They try to swarm us and corrupt and infiltrate and, pretend to be your friend, and then while talking behind you, talking crap about you behind your back, and pretend like they're on the same path as you, and then when your back is turned, they undermine your message and they corrupt people, right? Unfortunately, I've had to deal with a lot of this crap. Aaron says no in regards to the crumbles. I was talking about Beyond Meat crumbles. He buys a box of 6 burgers now when on sale, or I buy the square block. Oh, they have a square block, huh? I have not heard of this before. I've only really seen I'm not even sure that I've seen Beyond Meat burgers in the store. I know that I've seen meatballs and the crumbles and other products, but it's kind of weird. Anyways, hey Tyler, how's it going? Okay. I am going to read the third election of the Gospel of the Holy 12 real quick. It is the Nativity of John the Baptist. Now Elizabeth's full time came that she should be delivered, and when she brought forth a son, and her neighbors and her cousins heard how the Lord had shown great mercy upon her, they rejoiced with her. And it came to pass that on the 8th day they came to circumcise the child, and they called him Zacharias, after the name of his father. And his mother answered and said, Not so, but he shall be called John. And they said unto her, There is none of thy kindred that is called by thy name. And they made signs to his father, how would he have him called? And he asked for a writing table, and wrote, saying, His name is John. And they all marveled, for his mouth was opened immediately, and his tongue loosed, and he spake and praised God. And great awe came on all that dwelt around about them, and all these came on all that dwelt round about them. And all these sayings were made known abroad throughout all the hilly country of Judea. And all that they that had heard them laid them up in their hearts, saying, What manner of child shall this be? And the hand of Jehovah was with him. And his father Zacharias was filled with the Holy Spirit, and prophesied, saying, Blessed be thou, O God of Israel, for thou hast visited and redeemed thy people, and hast raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of thy servant David. And thou hast spakest by the mouth of thy holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us, to perform the mercy promised to our ancestors, and to remember thy holy covenant, the oath which thou didst swear to our father Abraham, that thou wouldest grant unto us, that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve thee without fear, in holiness and righteousness before thee all the days of our life. And this child shall be called the prophet of the highest, for he shall go before thy face, O God, to prepare thy ways, to give knowledge of thy salvation unto thy people by the remission of their sins. Through the tender mercy of our God, whereby the day spring from on high hath visited us, to give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace. And the child grew and waxed strong in spirit, and his mission was hidden till the day of his showing forth unto Israel. If you remember from lection 1, this angel had visited Zacharias and told him that his child was supposed to be, holy from the womb, not having, the mom doesn't drink strong drink or eat flesh while she's pregnant, and then the child follows the same suit so that they can be holy. I love that. But I wanted to talk just for a second about this whole circumcision thing. I've heard people say that, modern circumcision is different than biblical circumcision. This one article says the original biblical circumcision of Abraham's time was a relatively minor ritual circumcision procedure in which the only the redundant end of the foreskin, just scream this out, extending beyond the tip of the glans was removed. This was called Milah. It is from this term that the Jewish righteous covenant circumcision ritual Bris Milah or Brith Milah got its name. They're saying that following this type of circumcision, the penis would still contain a considerable portion of the foreskin, and the penis would have continued to go through its natural development, since most of the foreskin would have remained intact. Okay, I don't know if you know this, but I am so anti-circumcision, like whether it's male or female genital mutilation. Guys have foreskin for a reason, and this whole concept of, mutilating ourselves in any way, I know, coming from a girl that has tattoos and piercings, it's not what our Creator wanted, and ultimately it is going to cause issues when you're, cutting things out of the body, cutting things off of the body, or even adding things into the body. Our bodies, a baby who's not poisoned is going to come out perfect and not have any issues. And then, when mommy starts feeding it junk and injecting poisons and all of this other stuff, that's when problems start to arise. And obviously, you guys are not, ignorant to the fact that they are starting to test or use jabs on children, and seeing all sorts of issues, coming up from that, blood clots, the myocarditis, and other issues. So definitely scary to think of all these people allowing their children to be used as as test subjects. All right. Sonia says, thank you, Nana, dear. You're absolutely welcome. AA says, thoughts about UFOs. Well, it's an interesting subject because, you can do a little bit of research and find that our government has these flying saucer ships that they make themselves. So are people seeing something unidentified, or are they just seeing government, ships whizzing around up there? As far as alien goes, them being interdimensional entities, obviously not from another planet, because we don't live on a planet. We live in an enclosed realm. There's no, outer space. There's no other physical planets for someone to be from. So yeah, usually they are demonic in nature. They say they come in peace, but really they're deceiving humans by promoting the space deception in itself, right? So if they're deceiving you about one thing, it's like you shouldn't be trusted, like run the other way. Physicist, thanks. I'm going to keep it simple and go with divine creator then. Sounds good. I think that, I went through the whole name game thing with the Christ. People were saying Jesus isn't his name, all this stuff. And I finally got to a point where I'm like, it's better to just, focus on his character and his message and get that right rather than argue about his name, because it's just, what do you think he cares more about? His name getting right, where we don't, where it's just causing more division, us humans fighting over what the name is, or, get the message right, get on the track to purification, and then, other answers will be revealed to you over time as well. So Aaron says he's reading that book right now, and I love it. Awesome. That is the Gospel of the Holy 12. Like I was saying before, it is available for free as a PDF online. I personally wanted a hard copy. This scroll really changed my life. So it's like, I love to have books either way, but when crap hits the fan, this is one that I really want to be able to hold on to. And yeah. Aaron is asking if Fizza has heard of Neville Goddard before. The name kind of sounds familiar, but I'm not sure I've ever listened to them. But then again, I don't really listen to other people. So many people are inverts, and I'm just not gonna be listening to things from inverts. Aaron says, what are falling or shooting stars? That is a very good question, Aaron. I don't have the answer to that. Some, the book of Enoch talks about falling stars. I think it talks about angels that wouldn't, rise in their set time, them being falling stars. I should probably look that up to make sure that I'm quoting it correctly, but
because they're all here too, so I'll have this conversation with them.
It smells like French fries. That would be really tasty. Anyways, I swear I read somewhere about these. Oh yeah. In chapters 21 through 27, Enoch's second journey is recorded. In this vision, Enoch travels to a place of punishment of the fallen stars, which are the fallen angels. So that's pretty interesting. I'm not sure that I believe everything in these texts, obviously, but the book of Enoch talks about the laws of the luminaries and describes these portals that the sun and moon enter and exit our realm through, which I find really fascinating. And, definitely the whole concept of the sun entering on this side and, rising and setting and then hurrying back to the place where it rises and sets again, coming in through this portal and then out through this one. And I mean, that's a biblical quote, the sun rises and sets and hurries back to the place where it rises again. So I kind of tend to lean more towards the Enoch style, flat earth layout, but until we can actually go and check everything for ourselves, it's hard to know anything for sure, right? Sonia says, I used to think yes, circumcision. Now, no. Yet I prefer a circumcised partner intimately. I'm shadow working on it always. Okay. Many girls actually prefer uncircumcised partners. There's, this ribbed area inside of us that reacts differently to the foreskin. And, I think that we definitely should not be forcing anybody's, I know that you agree with me, but people force their own sexual desires on their children. Like I've seen people post like, oh, I'm going to get my son circumcised. I wouldn't want anybody sucking his, like, why are you even talking about someone sucking your child? Like, that is just so wrong. I want to be a mom more than anything, and I know that my future children will have sex, but it's definitely not something that I want to focus on. And yeah, I just want it to be, if you want me to talk about it, it's like I want it to be the best experience for him possible. So I'm going to leave him the way that God created him so that can happen. But yeah, it's real creepy what some people say on the internet about their children. It's like, ugh. I'm guessing that most of them that do say that is actually inverted. You'll get a lot of people online that say really flamboyant things about all sorts of subjects, right? Like they might say the most racist thing that you've ever heard, or like just really out there things. You have to understand that these aren't real humans. They're inverts. They try to get a rise out of people. They try to influence us. There was a post going around a while back that was like some creep that was talking about getting, like sexual pleasure from breastfeeding their child. And it's like they put these really outrageous and just corrupting, degenerate things out to try to influence us. So always keep that in mind when, you're scrolling through, a Facebook feed or even YouTube or something. It's like when you see really flamboyant comments, a lot of times they're not real humans. They're just trying to get a rise. They're trying to influence and corrupt, like always. AA says shadow working. I'm not really into all of those teachings that a lot of people focus on. I'm not really one to work in the shadows, if you will. But obviously we all have positive and negative parts to ourselves, and a lot of the people that want to pretend that they're about love and light not only eat animals, but they only want to focus on the positive aspect of it, and it's just not realistic. We all have struggles with different demons and issues that we need to work on to become the best version of ourselves. Tyler said 333. Woohoo! 3 is the magical number. Aaron says, I think it's fallen spirits. Yes, like you said, Enochian. I think it's their energy hitting the earth after their fall. Theory and conjecture. Yeah, it's kind of hard to, even make a statement without actually seeing it yourself, right? Walking up to something that fell from the sky that hit the earth, like, I'd be like, okay, well, did I see it fall down from the sky? Like, did it actually come from the sky? And what is it, right? Like, I just am very doubtful of everything. Sonia says, spiritually, I would not circumcise my children now if I was having them. I know, I've heard some sick shit too. Yeah, very sad. AA says, how does one gain back their foreskin? There are quite a few websites that I've seen. Ooh, I did not want to say that. Okay. This website should have restoringforeskin.com. I haven't heard, I don't know anybody personally that has done this. There's obviously people talking about it online and saying that it worked for them. But I also, how many of them are inverts that don't even have penises? So it's kind of hard to, yeah. Anyways. Aaron said, do you think they remember from their last experiences, these inverts? I do think that they are, that's a good question. Because obviously they have a more tight-knit connection with Satan. But, he often only tells them what they need to know. That's an interesting question. I mean, obviously, we all get our minds wiped when we come into this realm, and different people have different experiences with recollecting their memories from past lives as well. Interesting question, Aaron. Bernie Rossi says, no wonder they secretly want to go through our dimension and space and time fabric instead of going to space. Something is definitely up. It's all so tiresome to me. Well, space isn't real, so yeah, they can't go to space even if they wanted to. Sonia said, yeah, that post on Facebook going around disturbed me so much. The baby and the freak. Yeah, it's so disturbing, isn't it? Jangelo says, love the knowledge you have acquired. How did you learn so much? Well, it's definitely been a learning process over time, and remembering the things that we have been through before. But when you ask, when you seek, you get answers, you find. So I spend a lot of my time seeking for the answers, right? I want to know more about our reality and the truth of it. AA said the Israelites were blessed with quail. If you want to say blessed, okay, but the story goes that they were complaining because they didn't have meat, and God said, okay, have the meat. And he put tons of dead quail all around their camp, and when it was still in between their teeth, they were all smited with a plague. That's instant karma right there. So we want to say they were blessed. More like a curse, if you ask me. Look at him. AA said, how does one overcome lust? I don't know that, let's define lust again. We've had a little bit of this conversation before. Lust is a very strong sexual desire. I don't believe that in itself is a bad thing. Our Creator literally, gave us desires. I'm not going to get into too many details, but it's like there's one time of the month where you don't want sex, and there's another time of the month where your body is like, okay, let's have a baby. So I don't feel like lust in itself is a bad thing or something that necessarily, we all have natural sexual desires. Obviously, it can go to be over-sexualized, which is an issue, and, lust towards the wrong individuals is also an issue. If you're lusting after children or people of the same sex, that's an issue. But I don't believe having a sexual desire is a bad thing, especially if you're in a relationship with somebody, having that kind of passion and lust and love, right? A strong sexual desire, but also having a love for them, actually caring about them outside of sex, on a personal level, caring about their emotions, their mind, their soul, right? So I think that both are kind of important for a relationship. If you don't have a sexual desire for your partner, I guess if you guys don't have sex, then I'd probably say it might be problematic, and I'd wonder what other issues might be going on and what kind of porn usage is being used in the background. But yeah. Daniel said, FYI, stream is being corrupted here on my end. Oh no. I usually go and download my live videos and then watch them again later so that I don't have to do the streaming. And I have noticed that sometimes the internet gets spotty. So thank you for letting me know. Hopefully hopefully it'll fix itself out. AA says everything goes according to a code, gematria. Powers that be definitely do like to use numbers as codes. The Jinn in themselves are like really masturbatory when it comes to numbers. They're the ones that, have these big long math equations that take 20 days to figure out. They're the ones that come up with all the 666 globe earth math. They really promote the numbers. But as far as the people that are exposing gematria, from what I've seen, humans only really touch the surface. And all the gematria calculators are also made by them too, so I don't know about trusting those kinds of things. But anyways, ND Ram says, is suicide a sin? That is a good question. I personally don't ever encourage anyone to commit suicide, because your soul came here for a reason. Is it a sin? That's an interesting question. How do we define sin? An immoral act considered to be a transgression against divine law. Well, suicide definitely isn't moral, but it's kind of an interesting question. If you had like a unrepentant pedophile that wouldn't stop and couldn't stop, is it immoral for them to stop themselves by taking them out of this reality? It's an interesting question. Aaron says sin is to miss the mark or miss our calling. Well, then if that's how you define sin, then to miss your calling, I would definitely classify taking yourself out of the game as missing your calling. So by Aaron's definition, I would definitely say yes. Richard says you come back if you leave early. Connection to karma. I personally believe that everybody that comes here chooses to come here. So if you don't want to come back in, then you don't have to. Like, our creator doesn't force anybody in here. But I have heard people say, if you kill yourself, then you have to come back again. Anyways, I wanted to briefly talk about this Maxwell trial that everybody is becoming more and more obsessed with. It went from like one Psyop, the Rittenhouse Psyop, right to the next. People are saying that the Rittenhouse thing is a distraction from the Maxwell case. Well, in reality, they're both distractions. They're both fake trials. No justice is going to be served by the Satanists in the non-justice system. Like, I'll share the link. I posted a few different posts, 2 different posts actually. One of the judge of this trial, and as you can see from my thumbnail of this video, I posted the judge in there as well. But this is the Maxwell judge, and as you can see, it's a man. It's MTF. Then we have Maxwell himself. And here's a post that I made about him, posting some various biomarkers showing that it's an inverted clown. All of these things that you see on television are scripted clown shows. No one's going to be seeing justice, right? They want to manipulate us. They want to control us. Of course, they know that the public, after they release all of this information with Epstein through Q, they know that people want justice. And if they don't give a fake trial, then what's going to happen? Are those people going to get upset and pitch a fit? Probably not, because they're going to be sitting on their butts just waiting for Trump to come save them still. But anyways, yeah, they know that we want that, what soul doesn't want to see justice, right? But at the same time, all of the flight logs that they released, all of the names that they are releasing, all of the emails that they are releasing, it's all done on purpose. and they'll give us a list of names over here and exclude this list of names so that we can demonize this group and keep this group saintly, when in reality all of these clowns at the top are child abusers, right? Just the sole act of inverting your child, whether you do any other types of abuse or not, that alone is abuse. And it's a pedophile type abuse because ultimately, you are letting Satan in. And what Satan does when he gets in is, well, look at all of the MTF degenerates dancing around on stage, right? They're sodomite degenerates that are extremely over sexualized, and they pretty much all act the same. It's just like a carbon copy template with the same puppet master being behind all of the different various puppets. So, yeah, none of the stuff that we see with this trial, it's not going to be real. People really want a hero. They want to see justice served, like I was saying. But unfortunately, the people that are in charge of our world aren't concerned with that. You think that they're going to put their friend in jail, the friend that, perhaps supplied them with children? It's like, that's just not how this works. So, yeah, like I was saying before, knowing that inverts run our world, knowing how to spot inverts is really important, because once you know how to spot them, once you have the eyes to see, you're going to be able to see through all of these different psyops, right? It's funny because how, 10 days ago at least, as soon as Akshar even mentioned this whole Rittenhouse thing, I looked at one search and I'm like, this is an invert, right? As soon as I put them on blast, now all of a sudden a viral TikTok video comes out of some stupid green screen, and now people are like, oh my gosh, it's fake because of a green screen. Okay, if you are waiting to depend on some technological error or green screen issue to be able to tell if something is real or not, you're going to be in a world of hurt, because they don't always use green screens, right? The whole reason for them to put out this TikTok video is to try to get ahead of what's already happened. Like, the cat was already let out of the bag days ago, and now you guys are trying to control the awakening and say not that it's fake because they're all inverted. They want to say, oh, it is fake because of a green screen. Anything to cover up the fact that they're inverted. Don't put any attention to the fact that they're inverted. Don't let the people know. So many people in the truther community, as soon as they see a green screen, now their eyes are open. It's like, well, if you knew how to transvestigate, you wouldn't have fallen for this psyop in the first place. So over and over again, that's what you see: inverted clowns in these crisis psyops. So learn how to investigate. Join the Transvestigation Disclosure Now group. I will put a link in here so that you can see. Join the group so that you can have your eyes opened. Sonia says, nothing but theater to pacify the masses and laugh at us. Yes, pacify, to corrupt, to manipulate, and absolutely to laugh at us. Any way that they can make us into clowns, they do. Like with the Rittenhouse psyop, having nobody actually getting hurt, and then having so many humans get upset about people getting hurt, it's just... then they just laugh even more. And they want the truther community to be the biggest clowns of everybody. There's a post going around with Kylie Rittenhouse and Noah from Sandy Hook. I personally am not convinced that they are the same. The ears are different. They have, like in one of them, he has like a connected earlobe, and the other one he doesn't. And the top of the shape of the ear is different as well. The nose is different. So I personally am not convinced that they are the same. I'm open to other evidence, but, I'm not convinced that it's the same person. AA said, heard that all of the people in the Kylie Rittenhouse situation were Jews. I'm not sure what you mean by juice, but they are definitely all inverted. Orange psyop. Orange equals 33. unfortunately, they do tie all these things together and use, like I've said before, if they're a witch and they're going to perform a ritual, and the ritual is to deceive you, they're going to use different magical components, catalysts, if you will, for their spell, using the number 33, using different colors, using different mudras, all that kind of stuff. AA says, thoughts about Sandy Hook. Definitely just another psyop. I don't believe anybody died. They get us all, especially with guns and involving children, scaring people into, you're always going to have these two different sides. One side, the Patriots, is going to be like, no matter what happens, you're not coming for my guns. And if you want to try to come for my gun, you're going to get my gun, if you know what I'm saying. And then on the other side, right, they usually on the left, they're more inexperienced with guns, usually, and they want to take people's guns away. They see this media scene from a movie, right? It's exactly that. It's like shooting a scene from a movie, and then they play it as if it's real life, and then they can get all of these. A lot of people here today, like a lot of young guys coming to golf. It's kind of interesting. Anyways, what was I saying? Getting all these people upset about children dying, anything with school shootings and stuff like that is obviously going to, play on the emotional side, the scared side. We need to have security at the school. We need to have no guns, all this kind of gun control type crap. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, there's a video of Trump herself supporting red flag laws. So anyone who wants to go and say that Trump is a good person, well, they have bailed out of debt by Rothschild, funded by Soros, prophesied or foreshadowed as president on Simpsons and Lego Movie, promoted the Space Force, promoted Operation Warp Speed to get jabs out as fast as possible. What else was I about to say? Promoted red flag laws, and besides all of that, they themselves are an invert, and their children are inverted. Like, if you force your child to live life as the opposite sex, you're an abuser, and you're not a hero. It doesn't matter. Like, screw off, Trump. ND Ram says, what's your go-to place to look up natural cures and remedies for medicinal or medical issues? I usually... That's a good question, because I don't really usually, if you just do a Google search of stuff for natural remedies, but I personally, I tend to stick more with dry fasting, and stopping adding things in to let the body do what it's supposed to do rather than putting other things in. But I think that natural medicine is definitely something that we need to have during the golden age, instead of having Tylenol and aspirin and all of that crap, having natural medicines that will achieve the same thing, give you temporary relief for the things that aren't necessarily related to, the health issues. Sometimes you'll get a headache, and it's not because you have, an underlying issue. It's because there's dark forces at work that want to give you that headache, right? Physicist says that there's an image of Rittenhouse doing the hidden hand of Freemasonry symbology. I'll send it to you. I actually have seen that as well. And there's pictures of them throwing up the 666 and the judge throwing up the 666 as well. I know that these can be used for good or evil mudras, but in this case, they are using it to deceive. Hey, KG Jr., how's it going? KG Jr. says, hello, how's it? It is wonderful. I am doing great. Beautiful day here. Sonia said, I'd like to look into community off-grid living. What you think about that? For a while, when I woke up, that's definitely what I wanted to do. I actually almost went and joined this cult, if you will, in Missouri, called Fellowship of the Martyrs. They live together, and I'm actually really thankful that I didn't, because they raise animals. They raise rabbits to kill and eat. So yeah, but over time, I kind of personally, I think it's a great idea for people that want to be in that environment, and more power to you. But I personally, I tend to be a nudist, so I want to have my free. I want walls around my house so that I can go outside and tend my garden and walk around freely without anybody seeing me. So living in a community would definitely cause that not to happen. And plus, you have to trust people that you're with, right? I mean, I'm not knocking it at all. I'm just saying my own issues with it. It's like, if I'm going to be living around people, I have to know that they're not inverted, for one. And even if they are inverted, it's like, okay, what are your beliefs? And like, especially if we're going to be communing with each other, being in tight-knit quarters, especially if we're having children and our children are playing together, like, there's just a lot. I don't know. I'm more of a hermit myself. But like I said, if other people are into it, getting off the grid and being in different communities is definitely a great idea. Having one neighbor that grows this plant and having this person grow this thing, and this neighbor maybe bakes and this one fixes cars. It's like, not only do you have your own self-sufficient community, but it's like your children, if you trust the people, obviously, you can send little Karen over to go and learn how to bake with Carol, and you can send little Fred over to learn how to fix cars with Johnny. Like, you know what I'm saying? Teaching children, having adults that know how to do things that can teach children. Obviously, getting away from the whole indoctrination system and getting more into free range homeschooling is probably what they would call that, I guess. Aaron says it's all a Masonic show. They communicate with hand gestures, symbolism, lingo, etc. Look up Freemasonry and the court system, a very telling document, 27 pages long. It's the 10% of Masons through the higher ups that run the show. The secret societies, not so much. Your local Blue Lodge. A lot of them do not know. Absolutely. It's real sad that everybody blames Freemasons for everything, when Freemasons are just one group that have been infiltrated and corrupted. And AA said, saw someone putting the MSM on blast for trying to manipulate the masses by employing a posh British person. I don't know anything about that. I'm not sure what accent manipulation is either. Okay. Richard says we juice our body, pine needles, grapefruit, lemons, and citric acid, spring water, and boil them for 4 hours. Huh. Okay, I've heard about pine needle tea before. Interesting. Helps for the shitting too. Boosts me up. Very interesting. I usually don't crave grapefruit, but I just saw some yesterday when I was fasting. I'm like, wow, that looks real good. Sonia says, oh no, it would have to be a no-kill community hunt. And bless you and your body. Do you? Yay. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I definitely support this. And if you can find people that are on the same path as you and like-minded, doing that, all the more power to you, especially getting like an unincorporated city going where you have your own, people that you trust that are actually the law enforcement in case anything does go bad. I'm anti-anarchy. If you're in an anarchist state, essentially do what thou will is the whole of the law, right? If you want to go and eat animals, there's no laws, there's no one that can stop you from doing that. If you want to go and abuse children, there's no one that can stop or have laws to stop you from doing that in an anarchist state. And unfortunately, all of the souls that come here are not all good, right? They're going to do evil. Look at our government, right? They're going to continue to do evil until we put an end to it. That's just how they are, right? So, yeah. Sonia says, I dream dreams. Well, you know what, Sonia, keep dreaming, because your dreams, you can manifest your own reality and create that community, create that, I don't want to say brotherhood, but, because it excludes sisterhood, but you get the point, that camaraderie, if you will, that group. I know a lot of people are like, no group think. Like, but if everybody in the group is thinking what is true and what is right, then what's the problem with us all thinking the same thing, right? Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit more about the inversion agenda before I get off of here. Pretty much inverting everything, right? Not just the clowns that we see on TV, the puppets that are inverted, but also inverting the meanings of signs and symbols, inverting the truth in all different ways, right? Inverting the fact that we live on this flat surface, and now it's been inverted to where we live on a curved surface, and we're flying around the sun. So many things. What was I gonna say? So many things are inverted, and reverting them is something that I find really important. So you'll see me often defending these different mudras and symbols and saying that they can be used for good or evil. But ultimately, Satan in his contract to corrupt, getting humans to invert things, inverting what is good and what is pure, serves to corrupt us, serves to deceive us and create the situation that we are in today. So yeah, and I've mentioned before, it's on both sides, getting us females to lust over FTMs and getting males to lust after MTFs, and it's really important that people know this. I can't really stress it enough how important it is that you know that inverts run the world and how to spot them so that you don't fall prey to all of these different psyops. I'm going to leave my Transvestigation 101. Porn stars are male. Video link here in the chat for you to check out. Aaron says that's not the anarchism I know. No state based on natural law, right versus wrong, just no ruling class. Like a lot of things, they have ruined the definitions and original ideals for a lot of words. Well, the thing is that they're like, if you had a whole group of humans that were good and on board with following natural law, that'd be one thing, but you're not gonna it's just finding those people are the only ones that you're gonna make this anarchist state with, and then it's only gonna last as long as it lasts until a group of people that are, or a gang, whatever, people seeking power come along and then force their will on you, right? It's like if there's a vacuum of power, there are going to be souls that are seeking to fill that vacuum of power. I personally am a power seeker. I'm looking for power because when I have the power, I'm going to change the world with it. Like, I want to implement things that make the world a better place. So obviously, when there is power, there's a vacuum of power, I'm going to be grabbing it. So that alone, thankfully, I'm a good person seeking power, but you have people on the other side, the ones that are ruling our world that you have to deal with. They're not gonna agree to being this natural law. They're not gonna agree to anarchism, to no rulers, to any of this. Like, it's just not gonna be. Yeah, I don't know. A says, as in, they were pissed off that the MSN were trying to pass off dubious news as more authentic, sounding by employing a posh British person so that it sounds sweeter to the ears. Okay. Interesting. Aaron says, barter and trade. Humans come first. Resource-based economy to sustain our earth, ourselves, and all other life. Yes. Thoughts about sigils, AA said. Sigils can be used for good or bad. I myself have sigils on my wall, so at home. So yeah. Do y'all think there are good Satanists? I think that there are some that have been deceived into Satanism, especially like mainstream Satanism that, says Satan's not real. The Church of Satan watered down, lies to get humans to join in and say Satanism is cool and all this other crap. So it's kind of a little bit hard. I don't want to judge all of them as being the same, because some flat out, actually know Satan is real and are inverting themselves and corrupting and deceiving purposefully to do Satan's bidding. And then you have the idiots who have been drawn in by the mainstream teachings that say Satan's not real, just this, represents free will and fun and all this other garbage, right? So kind of need to judge on an individual basis. AA says, do y'all think the purge will happen? Well, it's definitely a good question. They've put it into the media enough, to try to put this idea into humans' minds, and anything is possible, Hopefully not, though. That'd be crazy. AA says, do y'all think seeking power is inherently evil? Well, since I said that I'm seeking power myself, no. It depends on what you want to do with that power, If you want to do good things or you want to do evil things, and that's ultimately what determines it. ND Ram says, have you ever had that dream where you're falling from a chair or a ladder and you wake up with that shock reaction? What do you think that is? It's a good question. I've never really thought about that before. AA said, supposedly a lot of Americans are easily manipulated by a posh British accent. Well, maybe. I myself grew up listening to, watching Super Nanny and actually trying to practice my own British accent, because I just really like British accents. I drink hot tea. I'm like, I definitely am embarrassed to admit the fact that I was previously attracted to Russell Brand as well. An FTM. They've been posted in my group here as well. I'll post if they have it. Russell Brand. The real. That was not Russell Brand. Okay. There's a really damning picture of them with really female hips. What the heck is going on? It's like showing me stuff that's not even from my own group. That's weird. I'm definitely embarrassed to say that I found Russell Brand attractive. I might be blushing a little bit right now. I'm like, oh, my soul, how embarrassing. Here it is. She's actually like wearing lingerie as well. AA would say that my soul's natural accent is British, and the reason that I have this accent is because I was raised in America this time around. So eventually when I become fully my true self, I'll probably have the accent slip out a little bit. Russell Brand, FTM. Okay, you can check out that picture and see the female hippiness. They actually have the indent between their upper legs and the hip area that I have. It's like, how was I attracted to this thing? All right. Sonia says, maybe if they were to turn it around and live to help others to get out or avoid the trap, that would definitely be nice. Exactly. If you're doing good things with the power, then that's what the important thing is. Okay. AA is laughing at me and said I fell for that posh British accent as well. Hey Sage, how's it going? Daniel says cringe. Yeah, I'm cringing too, and I'm awfully embarrassed over here. AA says, how does one's soul have an accent? Well, your soul, having noise, speaking, communicating, you're going to have some sort of noise coming out type type thing. Really busy place today. Dobril says, don't be embarrassed. All of us used to get caught in their lies. It's really hard not to get embarrassed, though, knowing that. It's funny, though, because I also tried to stay away from, like, a lot of mainstream actors and artists. Like, I always wanted to try to find unsigned bands, and now it's kind of interesting looking back. It's kind of like, that's probably why, because we've been through this before. My soul has been deceived before. But even a lot of times in unsigned bands and smaller local things, like, you're going to find inverts as well. I actually went to, I don't even want to say their name. I went to a Craig Owens concert. They were in the band Drugs, Destroy, Rebuild Until God Shows. And I went to their concert, and I remember standing outside the dressing room. Like, I had 2 or 3 friends with me, and we just wanted to meet Craig and whatever. And I had the feeling at the time that they were specifically not coming out because of me. And now, like, looking back and knowing what I know, it's like, if they did come out, I think that I would have sensed that there was something off with them, and, had an issue a lot earlier, a lot sooner, awakening, to find out that there's something wrong with this person that I had been, following and lusting after my whole life. So yeah, thankfully I was never into, like, going home and masturbating over these people. Like, so at least I never did that, but yeah. Sage says he subscribed to Russell. Yeah, their videos are actually, they say some pretty enlightened things, but it's always just controlled opposition. I just try to avoid them altogether because it's just embarrassing still. Like, Aaron said, Sonia says, girl, I like several actors, living and learning. Yes. Too embarrassing. Like, even like Vin Diesel and, all of these supposed manly men. In The Pacifier, they have that one scene where the little girl asks Vin Diesel, why do you have boobs? And then Vin Diesel's like, they're not boobs. It's like, yeah, they are. They love to do these truth in plain sight type jokes, where they'll say, why do you have boobs? And then say, basically out the person, right? Basically say something about them being inverted without saying it outright necessarily. And then they laugh at everybody who doesn't realize that they're saying the truth. Aaron says, I used to have a dream I was naked, but no one ever looked at me, but I was in a panic. Oh my, the entire dream. Or running up a steep hill, very windy, never being able to get to the top. And I lived near the ocean, had dreams of falling off the cliffs or the ocean waves swallowing me while I was on the ship. Wow. Did you ever, like, kind of ponder any of the meanings of these dreams, or... my most recent dreams that I had, I often have reoccurring nightmares that I'm working at this restaurant again, called the Kirby. And, in my most recent dream, I didn't have the right attire. I was wearing like gray sweatpants. Everybody else, I'm working in like a 4-star restaurant, and everybody's wearing like black dress pants and a nice, collared shirt. And I'm wearing gray sweatpants. Like, it's just always a shit show, if you will, in my dream. And really, I wake up feeling like exhausted because in my dream I just ran around like the whole night trying to catch up with the restaurant chaos. AA says, read about an isolated bunch of North Carolina people with British accents. Really? That's interesting. Never heard of that before. Sonia says that she's having vivid dreams as well, huh? Aaron says, I think there are meanings to the dreams. Yes, not really sure what. Working on it. Oh, well, yeah. Dreams often do have meanings, obviously. sometimes, you're just getting messed with by other entities, right? People have dreams or even astral projections where they are going in space and having these really, extravagant adventures. But we also need to realize that entities, especially, when we're in this dream state, when we're even astral projecting, they can deceive us. They can make us think that a reality is happening that is not happening. And people will say, "Oh, I know that the Earth is a giant spinning ball because I've astral projected." It's like your experience is going to be based on what you already know to be true. Like the spiritual world isn't going to wake you up. Like you're not going to start astral projecting and then like figure out that the Earth is flat because you astral projected. Like that's just not how it works. Your experience is going to be based off of what you already know and believe to be true. So that's why people can have this, space out of body type experience. It's just not real. Chemtrails MN, Inanna is queen. How's it going? Haven't heard from you for a while. Hopefully you are doing well. Aaron says, for some reason I always end up in a school bus driving an empty bus, and would wake up and think, I wish I owned a school bus, was younger. I actually would like to own a school bus too and take out the, seats and make it a nice traveling vehicle, RV. Richard said, I have a dream book beside my bed. 2, am journaling. Haha. Awesome. However, after noting them, when I wake up and go back to look, so many coincide and connect. That's really cool. Yeah, they're, a lot of people will keep a dream journal so that they can go back and relive their dreams, to re-experience, to observe their dreams. Absolutely, dreams are important. I just keep thinking about these Kirby nightmares that I've had. Like I've had dreams where I'm like, waitressing in high heels, like just the most crazy stuff. It's just so irritating. But yeah, I actually, when I was fasting recently, I had a dream that I broke the fast, maybe an hour or two into the fast, I woke up in a grog and I grabbed the water and drank it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I broke my fast. And in the dream, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I gotta go and tell everybody that I failed within the first hour of the fast. Like, this is gonna look bad. Yeah, but thankfully, obviously, that didn't happen. I haven't ever broken my fast early, without telling people. The 48-hour one that we just did was definitely intense. Towards the end, I started to get some leg pains. So I did try to do some grounding. It was really cold. But eventually the pain did go away, and, I made it through the fast. Dry fasting is going to bring up all sorts of different issues, underlying issues. You've been poisoning yourself your whole life. So when you start to allow the body to actually do what it's designed to do, you stop putting in food and you have time to heal, other issues are going to come to the surface. Your body's trying to work out all of this junk, all of the, precancerous cells, any types of diseases that you have going on in your body, So definitely expect to have things like that pop up, but know that it's part of the healing process, and it's definitely worth it in the end. I'm feeling really great since my fast. I'm looking beautiful, and yeah, definitely something I'm going to continue to do. AA said they push divergent accents to divide us further. Not surprising, every little agenda to divide and conquer different languages, also keep us separated as well. It's kind of interesting about the whole Tower of Babel story, and just a lot of people believing, that God confused everybody's languages to basically stop from happening what was happening at Babel, this, group ganging together saying that we'll reach the heavens type, evil. They weren't doing good. They were doing evil. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting, the whole concept of diversifying languages. Like, when did it happen? And was it the creator, or was it nefarious entities that want to divide and conquer us? Obviously the English language is a joke. how many other languages are absolute joke, right? Hard to say without knowing them personally, but yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for all joining me. I appreciate you being here on, well, it's a Sunday afternoon for me, whatever it is for you. Cheers. Thanks for joining, and thank you for all of the interaction in the live chat. I really like to, enjoy this time and get to know you guys, converse with you, answer any questions, and just chat about things. So. Sonia's making a vegan pumpkin pie. Ooh, that's awesome. But please post pictures online. Much love to everyone. Great live. Thanks so much. Enjoy your pumpkin pie. I'm actually going to get ready to sign off here as well. And I will definitely, what's today? Today's Sunday. So the next day would be Wednesday at 3:33 p.m. PST. Hopefully you will be able to join me then. So yeah, until then, I hope that you have a wonderful day. May God and the Goddess bless you.